All right. So this is the Los Altos Community Coalition event with Congresswoman Anna Eshoo, and we had a few technical difficulties, so we were just able to start the recording here. So Anna, thanks again for being here, and we'll get through this. So I'm going to start off with a few questions, and then we'll turn it over to the audience. You left Washington in January after 32 years, and I'm sure all of us are curious, what have you been doing since then?
Well, wonderful question. First of all, it's wonderful to be home and stay home. I certainly don't miss the commute, flying across the country every week for 32 years. I do miss my colleagues. I do miss my work because it had deep, deep meaning to me. So I've done a little travel. I did go to Rome for the installation of the new Pope, Pope Leo, which was absolutely magnificent. And uh, other than that, I have joined three boards. One of them, the Bipartisan Commission on Biodefense. I did legislation relative to that issue with a wonderful Republican colleague, Susan Brooks. She retired before I did. So I'm really very pleased to join that board. The NDI, the National Democratic Institute, that builds democratic institutions in different parts of the world. The former majority leader, Tom Daschle, is the chair of that board. It's a very distinguished a board and organization that has been in place for decades. They're having a rough time now because of all of the cuts that to USAID. And that has posed a real challenge to the board and the board members. And a third board, it's actually an advisory committee for an organization at Stanford, and that is the Biodesign Center, and that's all about innovation in biotechnology. Another area that I did extensive legislation on, and I'm enjoying that immensely. So it seems to me that I'm busy from morning until night, but I do have time to have, lunch with friends, which during the week, which I never could do before. More time with my family, and it's a real feeling of liberation, so to speak, because I don't have the hundreds of have tos every day, cumulatively. So it's good to be home, and I've honestly, there hasn't been any time where I thought, did I make a mistake by leaving? I have peace of mind. I know that I gave my all to my constituents, which is exactly what they deserve. They placed their trust in me. I always considered it a sacred trust, and so it's all good, Joe. It's good to be home.
That's great. I know when I stopped working full time, it was nice to be on a different clock, not somebody else's clock. And I think that's some of what you were describing there. So looking back on your amazing career, what two or three accomplishments really stand out for you and why?
Well, I think that working on our national security, so many people don't, are really not aware of the work that I did in that arena. I served, and not very few members of Congress get to serve on the House Intelligence Committee. And so I did serve on that, and that was very important work. It was tough. But while I can't, go into the details of what I'm proud of having accomplished there, that is one of the things that is at the top of my list. Domestically, I think the passage of the Affordable Care Act, because that has brought tens of millions of Americans very good health insurance. Not junk insurance, very good health insurance. That's all on the chopping block now, which not only makes me sad, but makes me, I worry about the families and that will lose their care. But that was a long time in coming. It was a promise of both Republican candidates for the presidency as well as Democrats. Um, and the third, I would say, was my work on biodefense. And that in that area, we did a major bill, uh, and we included pandemics because we considered that a part of our national security. Little did we know, or did I know at the time, that legislation would be the foundation for the development of the vaccine, which of course the COVID vaccine not only saved millions of lives in the United States, but people around the world. I think very often we take for granted vaccines are very difficult to develop. But when we do develop them and their effectiveness, it's not only for the American people, it's for humanity. It's for people around the world. And of course, the whole issue of vaccines is front and center today, which is a whole nother set of worries. But I'm very, very proud of that work.
That's amazing. And for those of you who haven't seen Jon Stewart last night, he gave a show or a monologue where he was trying not to offend certain people, and and the vaccine was one of the ones like, oh, what a great job developing that, but I know we're not going to give it to anybody anymore, and he was just tormented
Mm-hmm.
on how to actually describe that whole situation, which was pretty funny. So most of us don't know what happens with a congressperson's staff, and
Mm-hmm.
I'd love for you to give us a peek behind the curtains, like how many people work for worked for you when you were there. What do they do
Mm-hmm.
every day? I had some interactions with your Palo Alto office, but not everyone has gotten a chance to do that. So
Mm-hmm.
walk us through that briefly.
Well, that's a wonderful question, Joe. First of all, every member is allocated a budget by the House. It's up to the member to uh, use that budget how they wish. And to your question about staff, there's some offices where they may have a lot more staffers and at much lower salaries to spread the money out. I had I believe 7 people in my district office, and about the same in Washington D.C. I was blessed with really over the years with just extraordinary staff. And they develop the way I set it up in my office. I have all of the legislative work I did was in Washington, D.C. So the staff there was directed to all of that, as well as all the communications, the correspondence to constituents, because of course they were writing in or calling in or emailing in about specific issues. In the district office, we did all the casework that came in, the issues that constituents had with and problems they had with the IRS or whatever agency. Of course, immigration was always a huge issue in my district. Um, Stanford was the geographic center of my district, and of course, students coming in from all over the world, as well as visitors to the campus. So immigration issues was very big in my district as well. So that's the way I did it, and uh, they did they did yeoman's work. They really did. Uh, I always would say to whomever I was interviewing, a new person potentially coming into the office, if you don't like taking very, very good care of people, this is not the place for you. Uh, each constituent, I said, needs to be treated as if they are the only one that has called or come into the office with their issue. And my constituents recognize that. I can be in the grocery store, at the shoemaker, at Costco, and wherever during the week here being home now. And people come up to me and tell me their stories. There was a woman that came up to me when I was standing in line to go to the movies, and she said, "I just want you to know you saved my life." I said, "I saved your life? What did I do to earn that moniker?" And she went on to tell me the story of a 2 year saga, which was a nightmare for she and her husband with the IRS. And in a week's time, we had it completely resolved. So uh, uh, some of my staff retired. Others, there are a few that went to work in my successor's office, Sam Licardo, and some of them here in the district are working with um, other legislative offices. So I'm very pleased that my legislative director in Washington, D.C., uh, and I heavily suggested to Sam that he hire him because Sam is a Santa Clara County person and, former mayor of San Jose. But part of the district is San Mateo County. And those communities and their needs need to be looked after, as well as the federal facilities in our congressional district. That requires day to day dogged efforts relative to our nation's budget and the needs that they have. So I'm pleased with where the staffers chose to go. And I know that they're going to serve the people that they're employed by very well, because I have the highest of standards in our congressional office. So thank you for asking that question. It's a wonderful one.
Oh, my pleasure. And I've told you before, my only interaction, I was a little skeptical when someone suggested I contact my congressperson, and decided to give it a shot for an employee we were trying to hire with a visa issue or something. I don't recall exactly what it was, and like someone actually answered the phone and started working on it right
Oh,
away, and it was resolved in like a few days. So that was I was like, oh wow, the government can work for the people occasionally. So that was yes, and it's great to hear that there's been. I always wondered when a congressional seat transitioned, how much of the staff went with the new person versus moved on, and so it's great to hear there's some continuity there.
yes.
Yes, great.
The district office is not in Palo Alto anymore. And I'm kind of sorry to see that, because that's really the geographic center of the congressional district. And I think that accessibility is really important. Of course, most people, don't. But you know what? Constituents liked coming to the office. So, but each member makes their own decision about where their district office is going to be, the staffing decisions and all of that. So I don't question that.
Yep, makes sense. All right. So I'm going to put you on the spot and ask you if you have a favorite president that you served with over the years.
Enjoyed, honestly, I enjoyed each one. I didn't know, I served with President Trump in his first term, and I was in the Oval Office with him with a group of members on legislation that I had authored. So I wasn't with him very long. So I can't say I enjoyed working with him because I didn't have uh, let's put it this way, my sensibilities about him were developed outside of that. Um, Bill Clinton loved. You could tell that he loved, um, the political layers of policy making. Very generous in inviting members to meet with him to just talk and think things through at the White House. And he loved our congressional district. More than once, um, I had both the president and the vice president here in our district. So and that was terrific. Barack Obama, very serious minded, and uh, all very bright. I enjoyed George W. Bush a great deal. Uh, a real gentleman, a real gentleman. Well, he comes from a very fine family, a very fine family. Now, he wasn't happy with my opposition to the war, but I was on the intelligence committee, so I had information that I couldn't share with the public, but it took me obviously in the direction to vote against going into Iraq. But always a gentleman, and he had. To just tell you a quick story, I was in the Oval Office for him to sign one of my bills, and there were mostly Republican members there, and they wanted FaceTime with the president, and I understood that very well. I love to look at pictures, even if they're pictures of people that I don't know. So I'm looking at the pictures on his credenza, and all of a sudden, uh, the president is standing there, and he said to me, "I bet you don't know who that is." And I said, "Mr. President, I'll bet you I do." I said, "This is your grandfather, Prescott Bush. This is your grandmother. I can't remember her name now. And then his mother, his father, and his father was holding him. He was maybe 2 years old or less." And uh, I said, "You were adorable. You were just adorable." Well, first of all, he was stunned that I knew his grandparents. He said, "How do you know that?" I said, "Well, I was born and raised in Connecticut, and I remember the billboards with your grandfather's picture on the billboards. Vote for Prescott Bush, for U.S. Senate." So he was really surprised about that. He called out to all the members, "Guys, listen to this. Listen to this. Congresswoman Eshoo just said I'm adorable." I said, "No," I said, "You were adorable." Everybody got a big kick out of it, and but he was a real gentleman. And Joe Biden, I've known for years as a U.S. senator, and then as vice president, and then as president, and a very decent man who I think really did his best for the American people. I don't think he is as appreciated as he should be, because his legislative agenda was not a collection of small potatoes. They were real achievements, good things, in my view, for the American people. So, I mean, what an honor to serve with under five presidents. Great honor.
Yes, and impressive, that the relationships you were able to build with most of them, like that's it was a different time back then, right? So we're in a
I should say none of it is easy. Whether if you're in the majority, uh, or as you had said in the intro, 2/3 of my time, of the 32 years I had the privilege of representing the people of this district, my party was in the minority. So, but you need to build relationships with people. Uh, Politics is, of course, it's all public, but to me, it's always personal. You have to build relationships, and I cherish those relationships. In fact, the bipartisan commission on biodefense, the members of that commission, uh, most of them are Republicans, and they're my cherished friends from the Congress. We did, you know, really important bills together. So those relationships are so important, and respect, respect. You know,
Yep.
the Republicans used to tease me and say, "Oh my God, you're killing us in the debate. Why don't you come over to? We want you on our side." I said, "What do you think? I want to join the Flat Earth Society?" And they'd laugh. Uh, but I never attacked anyone personally. That's wrong. It's wrong. And there's so much more of that now. I just wish that it would just stop. And the Congress is not getting a darn thing done.
Right.
Nothing.
Right.
They're just fights and investigations and charges and more charges. And the American people are left really with their needs, their great needs unmet.
So I want to dive a little deeper into what's happening right now, and as we saw last week, the political violence continues to grow on both sides, and I'm curious, what you think might be done in order to lower the temperature and try and move forward more peacefully. Do you have any thoughts about that?
I don't think it's complicated. I think every, uh, in the political world, people need to think before they speak. Words matter. And while I will always welcome, because it's a mark of our democracy, intense debate, and um, and those are fights, but those are legitimate fights. Those are legitimate fights. I remember as a child, I asked my father, "What's the difference between the two parties?" And it's well, obviously, it's remained with me. And he said, "Well," he said, "I think that they both want to land in the same place. They just take a different way to get there." That's really blurred now. That's really blurred now. I think the personal attacks, uh, and it starts from the top. I mean, when the president calls some people in our country vermin, oh my God.
Yes.
No president has spoken that way. you know, have have presidents misspoken? Have people made mistakes? Well, that's the mark of humanity. Uh, but we need to be mature enough to not only learn from our history, but to shape history that is worthy of the American people. There are so many young people that are sleeping in eternity. They gave their young lives for this country, for this democracy. And we're not living up to their sacrifices. We're simply not. In fact, damage is being done to people. So it's very sad to me. But this has to be really internalized by every single person that's part of the arena. And that's the way it is. And uh, for the changes that I think, the changes that need to be made in the country. How is that done? Well, our Constitution says we, the people, we are the ones that hold the power. We are the ones that, so it's the American people that, in a major way, a year and some months from now, when the midterm elections take place. It's up to the American people whether they want to change the direction of the country or not. And I'm going to work hard to help change the direction. I don't like the direction at all.
And I'm curious, I don't want to give you PTSD, but if you were still in Congress right now, what would you be trying to do? You know, minority party, lots of investigations going on, as you said. What would you
Mm-hmm.
try to focus on as a member?
Introduction, and thank you, Joe. You were awfully generous. I served on two subcommittees, two very important subcommittees. The Health Subcommittee, and a lot of people associate me with that public policy area. The other one was technology and communications. And what has broken out into the news is the removal of Jimmy Kimmel. I didn't hear him. Uh, and, a factoid. He's a comedian. Now, there are many comedians that, sometimes I think they're too raw, they've gone too far, but they're comedians. But what has followed is deeply, deeply troubling. And I was the top Democrat on that committee. I would bring in the chairman of the FCC because that committee has jurisdiction over it. The idea that freedom of speech in our country and media going after the media and the media paving in to the president, his wishes. This is dangerous for our democracy, and I think you know people view this. The first thing they go to is not to the Constitution. They go to, well, he should have said this, he shouldn't have said it. That's good that he was removed. I don't like what he said. Um, but that's not a core value in our country. And I'm very glad to hear um, conservatives speaking out, concerned about freedom of speech, as well as, on the other side of the aisle. But I would have been jumping right into it as the ranking member to talk to the chairman of the committee and have both of us agree to have a hearing on this issue. It's not a small one. It's way beyond an individual called Jimmy Kimmel.
Right.
It's much, much larger than that. This is one of the core building blocks of our democracy. And our Constitution is very clear on that. Supreme Court decisions for over 80 years have come down clearly 100% on the side of protecting freedom of speech. And, it's uncomfortable sometimes. I mean, there are people that say really some really terrible things.
Yeah.
However, the larger picture of freedom of speech and what it represents in our country is really it's front and center, and it's the direction of the administration to me and to many is chilling.
Yeah, chilling is the exact word I was thinking of, as you see this interconnection between the FCC licenses and the mergers and the money. and these people getting sidelined.
Very interesting thing. I mean, I know the FCC and its, inside and out because I was on that subcommittee for 30 years and oversaw many mergers, failed mergers, all of that. The FCC does not have the authority to dictate what people say in broadcast.
Right.
They just don't. This is something that they're making up. So you can tell I feel strongly about it.
No, no, it's an important issue, and it's I hope our show doesn't get canceled after this one, but we'll see how that goes. So I know we got started a little bit late. I'll just ask you one final question and then give you a chance for some closing remarks. But you talked a little bit about the boards you're serving on and maybe some work for the upcoming midterms, but what do you plan to do in the coming years moving forward? Where's your focus going to be?
I think, well, I mean, I can't project out, what may walk into my life. But I had really, Joe, given up becoming a grandmother. But, God is full of surprises. I have a baby granddaughter, but they don't live in the United States. So I look forward to, hopefully seeing her grow up. She's just 2 years old. And this is a great, 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 great joy in my family, a real blessing. I hope to continue to travel to places that I love. And I love being home in the community and being with people. And it's, and the board work, I think, is I wouldn't have joined these boards unless what their mission is something that's really important for our country, and really takes serves the American people well. So I also I didn't mention it, but it's a very important part of my life. Um, the Religious of the Sacred Heart, the that's the order of nuns that were my children's educators at Convent of the Sacred Heart, and I still volunteer there, and they have me. Speaking to them about a public policy issue once a month, but it's these are the retired sisters, and they're just maybe about a mile away from me. Their retirement home is on the campus of the school, so I still go to mass there every Sunday in their small chapel, and I love being with them. So, however I can help them and assist them to do whatever they ask me to do. That's another important part of my life. So my life is full and it's good, and I feel very, very, very blessed. Uh, there are very few Americans that have ever had the privilege of serving in the Congress. And, when I made my announcement, of course, the national press and the running away and the interviewing me. I said, I've never run away from anything. I'm not running away from the Congress. I think it's time for me to pass the torch to someone else. And so I'm deeply grateful, and every day is a blessing to me. Well, it's a blessing to live here. We live in the most beautiful, wonderful area, not only in California, but the United States, and I think the world. So, more than anything else, I have unending gratitude to my constituents for placing their trust in me. And I couldn't mean that more. And obviously, that includes everyone that's in the audience and the work that all the wonderful things that individuals that are part of the coalition do for our communities. This is where the seeds of democracy are planted, right here at home. So what we do, um, in some way, shape, or form, to strengthen our communities, to bring maybe better services to people that need them. Um, that's all important work, very important work. It's not lesser just because it's local. Uh, my local experience, having served on the Board of Supervisors for 10 years, that's what shaped me legislatively. So that has remained with me really all of my life. So I'm very grateful to all of you. Um, and yeah, this is another good chapter of my life.
That's great. Well, I can't think of a better way to end that part of the conversation, and really appreciate your candor and letting us in on some of the behind the scenes, and your private thoughts about what's going on. So thank you for that. We're gonna open it up to attendees for questions, and I only have two hands, so bear with me as I get everything lined up here. But we ask that you raise your virtual hand, and I'll call on you. One question per person, no speeches, please, and we'll just move through it as quickly as we can, so we can end promptly at 9:30. So I'm not seeing any hands raised, but please, there's Mr. Gary Hedden. It's good to see your smiling face. Please unmute and ask your question.
Oh, it's good to see you too, Joe. And thanks, Anna, for sharing some time with us. I too agree that democracy is under attack here. And so, is there a credible plan to take back the House, control of the House and the Senate?
Oh, there's while I'm not there and in the caucus meetings, the answer is a big yes. And I think the Democrats need to, I mean, there's so much that comes at us every day. And I think the temptation is that you have to keep responding to all of these things. I think that the Democrats, as a party, and they have problems. I mean, the Democratic registration in the country has gone down. The polling shows that people don't know what the Democrats stand for. It's an opportunity for them in preparing for these elections. It's to say this is what we are for. Here are the top three things, or however they say it, of what we will do if you entrust us with the majority. There are excellent, excellent candidates, individuals that are stepping forward to run. And, you can have all the money in the world. If you don't have a good candidate that matches the district that they hope to represent, it just is not going to happen. So the quality of candidates is very important. So yes, and they are preparing for that. And I think it'll be, we always say this is the most important election of our lives and whatever. I think this one coming up is for all the obvious reasons.
I
Thank
agree.
you, Gary. Thanks, Gary.
All right, so we have another friend. You might recognize her voice in a moment. Go ahead, mystery caller. You need to unmute. Need to unmute mystery caller. Let me try this button here. Does that pop something up on your screen?
There you go. Hello, Anna. It's Vicky Reader.
I was going to say it out loud, and then I thought I better not.
I
said it's Vicky.
I want to just ask you a serious question. I'm so
Vicky,
looking.
and I hope everyone that's there today, I'm going to see at the Follies because they're coming up. They're so fabulous. Vicky, thank you. What's your question, darling?
Mike, well, it's a serious question. Do you think that the Democrats can let's see, not go ahead and shut the government down in a couple weeks and not get blamed for it?
Well, you know what? I really don't know. Uh, I've despised government shutdowns. It hurts the American people. No one wins in it. But I think this may be the exception, Vicky, because someone has to stand up against what our Republican. You know what? I don't even consider them Republicans because these are people that have ruined a great political party. You know, I mean, I don't agree with a lot of their policies, but Republicans have produced great leaders for our country. And I would say that to my colleagues. They're doing severe damage to what was a great party. But when you're taking health care away from families in our country, what are they going to do? I mean, come on. It's cruel. So I think the Democrats should stand up and say, we're not voting for any of this unless you change that. Drop it. Get rid of it. You know, you can read legislation, and if you're not a lawyer, it's a lot of legalese. But you know what? Those words walk into people's lives. And it really practically brings me to tears talking about it because we have health care, each one of us. I'm sure there isn't anyone in the audience this morning that doesn't have insurance. But imagine a family with young children where they don't know whether their children should be vaccinated, but worse, that they have their health insurance and their community clinic has been closed down. For what? For what? For what? So I think that there are some things that are worth really, really standing up for. People know when you are on their side. They know. American people are smart and they're decent. They're decent. I have an unswerving belief in the American people because I've seen the decency and goodness from so many for so long. So I don't think the American people would blame whomever stands up and says you need to change this. You need to change this. Look, I was there when the Democrats in the minority committed to protect the speaker as his own party was going after him. And you know why we did that? We did that so that there would be some sense of peace in the Congress and move ahead. We didn't want more chaos in the country. And the Democrats complained afterward. I remember so many of them saying, I don't think we got credit for that. Well, sometimes you don't get credit for things you should get credit for. I know that myself. Other people take the credit. I think we've all had that happen to us in our lives. But you know what? It's worth getting the right thing done. So we'll see what happens, Vicki.
Thank you.
It's worth the fight. I really do. I really do. I think these people, these families across the country deserve that.
All right. Well, we're out of time. Anna, I'm sorry we didn't get to see your smiling face this morning. We only got half the package.
At all.
Oh,
Whatever. I put my favorite earrings on.
I'm sorry.
No, well, I apologize.
No, no.
As I said to you offline, Joe, I was on 2 Zoom conference meetings yesterday, didn't have one problem. But thank you for inviting me. It's wonderful to be with you all. And We all need to keep our faith in the country, in our democracy, be kind to each other, and you know what? We can't fear to hope. We cannot be fearful to hope. So thank you again. And I couldn't mean that more. And if there's any way I can help the coalition, please call on me. I'll be right there for you.
We will, and I'll sign off with you, and then we just have a few announcements for everybody. Thank you so much.
No, thank you.
Talk to you soon. Bye. All right, my arm is officially asleep. Thanks for bearing with us through that. Our next meeting will be on Friday, October 3rd from 8:30 to 9:30. Please join us for a discussion entitled Santa Clara County Assessor Special Election Candidates with Nisa Flygor, Rishi Kumar, and Yan Zhao. Just for clarity, there are four candidates, but Brian Doe has not gotten back to us, and he's welcome to join if he does get back to us. So should be a great discussion. As always, if you'd like to be added to the mailing list, info@losaltoscommunitycoalition.org. And LACC is a fiscally sponsored project of LAMVCF's Local Impact Collective. As always, we'd like to thank the Community Foundation for their ongoing support. Thank you all for bearing with us, and we'll see you again in a couple of weeks.